Hey, Kylie, how are you?
Hi, everybody. Okay, I think we're live. There we go. So, everybody, I am going to have to turn off the sound. So I'm Blake Cabot. I am the owner of FacePaintcom, and I'm here with Elaine Goh from Australia. So we are talking on different days, which is an unusual thing, at least for me. We're thrilled to have her here. She's obviously an expert in split cakes and the like. And so we're very excited to have this opportunity to learn from the master. So Elaine is going to show you some amazing designs. And with that, I will get out of the way. Hey, Gilbert. Good to see you, as always. Okay, go ahead.
So shall I show them what the end result looks like first?
No, leave it as a surprise.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to be doing, I suppose I better get the right picture up.
Exactly. Thanks, Gilbert, for sharing. Gilbert always shares this. It's always awesome.
Okay, so this is my daughter.
Who is very cute. We've discussed this.
And all I've done is printed out photos of my daughter on profile and then sideways. And also there's one that you can have full on sideways. So this one is just sort of an angle side. And then I've used a clear Sally Inch board and just put it over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm using the Kraze FX one-stroke palette. And I'm going to start off with this one.
Oh, you can't see anything, Samantha? I don't know what's going wrong. Anybody else having this problem? Okay. Elaine, I think you're...
I think you just haven't selected the right screen.
Okay. No, I think it may be just her. I'm not sure what's going on there. Everybody else can see it. Okay. Okay, great.
Can everyone see it?
Yeah. There's a couple comments that said everybody can see it fine. Because
my picture is really small.
No, it's okay. Keep going. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. So I'm just using a 1/2 inch angled brush. And I just want to get just the tip of the black because I don't want to have a whole heap of black. So I'm not used to painting with a camera in front of my face.
Who is?
It's kind of in my line of sight.
You see a butterfly with Elaine's logo.
So can anyone see my picture at all?
Yeah, no, everybody can see it. It's just Samantha Walker's having some problems, but I don't quite know what is going on.
All right.
Sorry, I don't have a solution for you, Samantha.
Okay, so I actually load up quite frequently. Most of the time I get 1 or 2 strokes in. I know some people are really talented and they can get a ton of strokes in.
And if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to. Trudy says, tell Samantha that Zoom has some troubleshooting tests that can help. Okay, Good to know. The other thing is, Samantha, you can go to Facebook Live, and here's the link, and you can watch it there if you're having problems. That's probably easier. Ah, great.
Now, when I'm on the job, I obviously don't paint this slowly. It's just, you know, skin and board feels quite different. And then, of course, it takes a little while for the paint to dry on the board as well. So when that has mostly dried, I'm going to be using this stencil. This is by Glitter and Ghouls. I will try and write down everything I've used. And I've also got pictures for them, so they will get posted later. Glitter and Ghouls is made by Cinta, and she actually lives in Brisbane in Australia, so it's really easy for me to get all my stencils. Okay,
who makes those stencils again?
Glitter and Ghouls by Cinta.
Okay.
Okay, so
those are
what
nice
I want
stencils.
to do, so I'm going to use a Dauber, and I'm going to use this split cane. I'm going to spray that just maybe twice, but I'm not going to spray it on top here. Okay, and then usually you should test it on your hand to make sure it's not too wet. So sometimes I get this wrong, but if you remember, I try and get the darker color down.
Question came from Trudy. Do you use finger daubers for all stencils?
Absolutely. I don't tend to use regular sponges, especially for stencils, like unless, you know, I don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting a bit dry there, so I'm going to reload. And then I'm going to see, the good thing about this stencil is that you don't have to like flip it, because some of the other stencils only has like the one side or one of those. So if you have to flip it, then it's like the wrong way. So it's good that there's like a mirror image of it. Okay, so dark at the bottom, light up the top.
Hi, Nicole. Another question came from Marina. Her split capes keep turning into an indistinct mush of colors. What am I doing wrong?
Maybe check how much water is in your brush. I actually, when I'm loading, I only really put the tip, like, let me see. The very tip, like less than 1 millimeter of water on it. Like I basically just touched the tip and then I load it again. And if it's too dry, I touch the tip in the water again. Mm-hmm. So I'm not actually soaking my brush in there. So let me see. So if this is me using it, so I've wet my brush, I've just tapped it dry. And then if you want, you can just, you know, just lightly, you don't need to press on it because it's too dry otherwise. So I would always go on the drier side than the wetter side. once you tap your brush on the side of your bucket, it's just nice and wet. It's not over wet, it's just nice. So you can see that still looks a bit dry. So I would just dip it in. Just the very tip. I'm not sure if you can see.
Yeah, just make sure to put it in front of the screen. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. And this is how I load, very flat. And I'm actually quite gentle on my cakes because with my OCD, I really hate when my cakes has that dip in the middle. So I'm always loading my brushes really flat and very gently. You don't have to squish them in. And I actually don't load my brush all the way to the top because you're wasting paint and sometimes you only need 1 or 2 strokes. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so let me see. I'm going to do a few leaves to the flowers, and I've already got those leaves. So I'm going to go back with this. I've already wet my brush.
Jessica says that is beautiful and crisp.
And then a lot of the time, I'll just spray my black. And I usually, when I spray, it's, I don't know if you can see, it's about maybe about 10 centimeters away. Because when you spray, you don't want it to have like you just want to wet the surface lightly and not have it soaking. Because it's always best to not overdo it and you can always spray more. So I've loaded it with the green. Then I just, this is a quarter inch angle. So you can use any quarter-inch angle. Just make sure it's nice. You know, to get a crisp line, you need brushes that are nice and crisp, not furry. And just dip the very tip.
Trudy says that's like 3 to 4 inches away from the cake for Americans.
Sorry, I know some people have this thing about not turning your board, but when you're actually painting a person, you can actually move their face, so.
It's true.
And you know, you can angle their faces too, so it makes it.
Probably not like that though.
No, not quite like that one, but.
Your daughter would complain, I would think.
But you know, you can move them to an angle where, yeah, that's convenient for you. So you still got a little bit of black at the tip, and that's so you can do the veins. And if it's not enough, you can always dip it in that black. Don't overdo it, because if you overdo it, and you put the black onto the leaves, you kind of ruined it. So always go on the lesser side. And if you feel it's getting dry, just spray your cake maybe once, twice. Just a very, very tip, because this is just for the veins now.
One request from the group, if you guys have any groups that you can share it with, normally I can share it with, but when I shared this a couple hours ago, Facebook has kind of banned me from letting other groups know about this. So they won't let me post anything for a week. So if you guys were willing to share it, that would be awesome. Hey, Richie. Hey, Emer.
So,
Samantha says she really struggles with getting the right consistency on her brush. Yeah, same issue.
What kind of brush?
That's a good question. What kind of brush? Trudy wants to know, how long would it likely spend with a child doing a face on the job?
This thing, probably 5 minutes or less. I mean, if you have a really long line, I mean, your basic design would be something like, you know, the red. And if you've got a really long line, you can leave the stencils out, just put a bit of green there, or even leave out these leaves here. And then just put a bit of chunky glitter and a bit of puff of loose glitter, and that's it. Or you can even put some line work, like white or black line work. Yeah, this is probably going a little bit more overboard. So, you know, if you want to, you can add a bit more detail, like if I've got all the time in the world. So I've been talking, my brush is dried out. So if you want to get nice line work, always think about the thin to thick to thin, or thick to thin, or thin to thick concept, because if your line work is just flat, then it looks a bit boring.
So Samantha said she uses a 1/4 inch flat, any flat really, and also on my sponges when I go onto the skin. It rarely looks bright and crisp.
I don't tend to use a lot of sponge. I use a lot of powders though. And I use a lot of 1-strokes. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Well,
so
as
really
Terry said, that they can recognize your style anywhere.
I didn't think that my style was that recognizable.
Yes, it is.
So this detail, you can leave it out, or, you know, the good thing about face painting is you can put as much detail or as little detail as possible. So if you got like nobody waiting in line, or you've got only 1 or 2 people and you don't think it's going to be that busy, you can keep going and keep going. And if you want to, as some of you know, I can do a white outline on top of that, so makes it stand out even more. But obviously, like, there's so many details and layers of details here that you can leave out if you're busy. Think about, you know, when you're doing the white, where's the light coming from? So, I mean, this design, I mean, I've just made it up, obviously, but yesterday.
Well, it's beautiful.
But it looks very Christmassy, so you could definitely use this for Christmas.
Kylie wanted to know what size liner you used.
The one I just used?
Yep.
That was a 0.
Okay. A 0, so a script liner.
And then if I do my butterflies, usually I'll use the Marcella Bustamante Blazing Brush 1 script liner. This is a really, like, hang on, let me write it. I like this because it took me a bit of getting used to with a liner brush, but this one isn't too long. This is actually quite a regular size, as opposed to something like this, which is much shorter.
Interesting.
It just depends on how do I say? how much more control you want them. And also if like the kind of line what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing dots, I'm going to do dots today, but instead of dots, if you're running out of time, you could use chunky glitter. I like to use the Essential Glitter Balm. It's like my favorite ones. Like I've got a lot of colors. Yeah, and I use also the glitter cream by Silly Farm. I think it's Silly Farm. Yeah,
Glitter
those
cream?
are my two favorite to use.
Okay.
So, okay, this design is pretty much done.
Awesome.
If you wanted to, you can put a bit of eyeshadow there, you know.
The world's your oyster.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that is a great design. Thank you.
Let me see which one I'm going to do next. Okay. So yeah, I love these clear boards by Sally Ann Lynch.
Yeah, they're nice.
Well, you can put anything behind them. I just use a clipboard just to keep everything in so it doesn't move. Okay, so this next design is going to be like a really fast on the job superhero. Can anyone guess what it is?
I can't because I've seen it.
Okay, so I'm just loading up. This is my messy palette. I use this mainly for double dips. So,
So you daub that. Interesting.
I daub it because I'm going to use a dauber. Okay, so especially since I'm doing the board, like I don't want my dauber to be too wet because it'll take forever to dry, and I've got another layer to go over. So just checking that.
Terry Lee thinks it's Batman, and Trudy asked, where did you print out the photos of your daughter on a printer? I think she went to well, you tell.
Well, it depends on where you live. You know, if you're in Australia, I just go to Harvey Norman.
That was a mystery to me, but it isn't to Australians.
But anywhere that you can do self-printing, like you bring your USB or your phone, and you can self-print it, and it takes like, you just wait there for half an hour or come back later. Okay, so
you're right, Superman, Richie.
So
what is the name of the yellow that you're using?
The yellow, this yellow, I think, hang on, let me see. I'm gonna guess, okay, because obviously I haven't got the pot here. I think it's, I wouldn't be able to guess actually, because I have a few yellows. I usually use tag regular yellow, or there's also a golden yellow, I think.
Yeah, they have a golden yellow.
And I also have Paradise Yellow, so that could very well be Paradise Yellow. Okay, so
in short, we're not entirely sure. Oh, and Maria, where you can get the boards. So this is just the board. Yeah, this is just the Sally Ann Lynch boards. We've got a couple of them
on Sally Ann's website, on Etsy. I will try and remember to post that in the link.
And we've got a couple of them on FacePaintcom as well. So.
Okay, so whether it's on the face or on the board, sometimes when you have the stencil and there's other things in the way, you can't tell where the middle is. So I actually make a line. You might not be able to see it. You can use a different color if you want. So if I yellow there. So now I can see, okay, well, that's the middle there. Okay, hopefully this hasn't dried out too much. Okay. I always like to go around the sides first because, you know, if you've got a squirmy kid, you want to make sure you got all your sides in, and then if they keep squirming, you haven't done the middle bit, you can always come back with the Dauber without the stencil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then I'm just going to leave that to dry just a little bit. So the next bit I'm going to use is, you know, the S portion. I'm going to use like a dark red too, this one. And I'd have to see what color that red is, but if you just use a dark red or even like a darker red, and then if you want to make it darker, you can always just, you know, squirt your black paint just very lightly, and then just dab it a few times in the black, so it'll make it darker. Okay, so let me squirt. I usually squirt my Dauber as well, rather than my paint, because I don't want to have my paints soaking, you know, and it depends on where you live as well. If it's really humid, your paint's going to end up all gluggy.
Mm. Yeah, how do you stop that? Or do you live in a humid place?
It can be depending on the time of the year. I actually have a, what do they call those things? Like, you know, those vegetable dryers?
Uh-huh.
The fruit dehydrators.
Okay. What Trudy asked question, how many Dobbers do you have on the job? Do you use a dehydrator is the word for it. Thanks, Trudy. Do you use a new Dauber per child?
When I use sponges in general, I tend to use one per child, but when it comes to Daubers, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I get this from AliExpress. Off the top of my head, I mean, it was a while ago. It was probably maybe 20 something bucks Australian.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes with the box. And as you can see, like I use one color or one split cake per Dauber.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And like I had this for quite a few months already, and I still haven't used these. Yeah.
So did the Daubers come with that case?
Absolutely. Bargain.
Yeah, there you go. AliExpress, it could be yours.
Okay. If you're prepared to wait for it to come, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm.
So this comes from the Kraze FX palette.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use the blue because Superman has a bit of blue.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this, you know, obviously if you're rushing, you can leave this part out.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the time, it looks so much better.
Someone else bought it in Amazon UK for like £20. So
Yeah, 20 pounds.
Lynn is trying to find a really dense, opaque yellow in the United States.
Okay. I find a lot of the yellows are quite opaque.
Yeah, I think the Kraze FX one, at least that the one our brand is seems to be pretty generally people think that. I don't know, Gilbert, you tried them all out. What do you think? Be honest.
And I'm not usually this slow on the job. I'm just really fussy with making my work look perfect. Okay, so now I've done that bit, I can use this fiery cake again. Now, before, when I was doing the flower, I was only using a tip, but I'm going to use a little bit more of the black now because it'll look like it's got shadow on the cape. So if you think that
That's a good question.
dry, you can just dip it into the water, just a very tip where when you touch the water, the paint goes on the water.
In terms of yellows, Gilbert never had any problems with. Superstar is great, says Cinta. That's true. Superstar is a terrific paint. And she loves Chameleon, have a nice bright yellow too. Catherine asks, how does she avoid making ridges in a split cake? You use one color at a time with the liner brush? When you use one color at a time with the liner brush? Sorry, just say that again. So when you're using a split cake and you're only taking one color from the split cake, how do you avoid making ridges in the split cake? Oh, I'm only doing that to show you with the split cakes, or rather one strokes, because split cakes are actually the bigger cakes that people use for sponges. These small things are actually called one strokes. Yeah, we call them the same things. But yeah, the thing is, they're both split cakes. It's hard to say. There's not a really good name for something that's a little bigger that use it with a sponge. I don't know. I've never came up with a great name for it. Thought a lot about it. One strokes absolutely makes sense because you're using a stroke on a brush, and so it's basically one you use with a brush and one you don't. So we've struggled with names for that for a while. That is a lovely design. Lovely. So Maria tried the gold from Kraze FX, and she thinks it's opaque, and she also uses the gold from Diamond FX. Well, thank you, Maria, for trying it out. So I have to wait for that to dry because I think I made it a bit wet. Oh, yeah. Okay. But if you have time and you want to make it look even flashier, you can put that above. This is stencil by Graffiti Madness. It's one of Leah Seeley's one. This is Graffiti Madness 1. So Cinta asks, sorry, please go ahead. Keep going. I think it's really hard to get Leah's stencils nowadays. Ooh. They're all, every time I look, they tend to be sold out. This is the Dauber Kit from AliExpress, thanks to Trudy. So I would use the yellow again. Hopefully I don't smudge the bottom because it's still wet. I might start selling this. I don't know why we wouldn't. It's a great idea. Cinda wanted to ask you, do you always use colors individually from your one strokes, or do you have a palette with individual colors as well? I have a palette. Yeah, I have my palettes with individual colors as well, yes. Yeah. I have 4. I'll show you an example. Mm-hmm. This is one that's not just, it's mostly Paradise, but they're not all Paradise. So this style, I have 4 of these. And then I've got I've got one that's sort of greeny blue and the other one's yellowy orange and another one that's sort of pinky purple. Oh, thanks, Maria. She likes unicorn shimmer.
And then I have about, let me see, I've got 10 of these styles of palettes.
Sure.
So all up, I have 14 palettes.
No, that's just plain crazy. You're just showing off at this point.
That does not include yours. And Leanne Courtney's Global Infusion palettes as well.
Right. So why is Australia the key to all face painting? I mean, it's tags there, fusions there, globals there. What is it with Australia and face paint?
I have no idea.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Okay, let me see. I think okay, I've got to change this board. I might have to wash.
It's like Holland and Australia. Those are the centers of the world. Yeah, Prima Barton is there. There you go. Maybe that's it.
I'm going to Prima and Cal McEwen's workshop end of November.
Nice.
They're both doing a workshop at the same time on the same day together. Okay, I'm going to do a bluebird eye.
One of my favorite facts is that every time Zuri comes on to Facebook Live and I say, "Hey Zuri," my phone goes off because they think it says, "Hey Siri."
I've said, "Are you serious?" And Siri goes, "How can I help you?"
Exactly. It happens every single time. It's just bizarre. Yeah. I don't know. The boards are similar. I don't know if they're exactly the same and they're see-through. I don't think I've got the see-through thing that that Elaine's using.
The see-through ones are really versatile. Okay, let me see if I can do this with the camera in the way. I have to turn the board. Okay.
Oh, this reminds me, Maria's making this comment and I should have said something about this. So we have a weekly, we have 2 palettes are going to be given away weekly on the Kraze FX, on FacePaintcom. And so if you guys want to take a shot at winning some free face paint, well, here you go.
Okay,
Maria won. Maria won last week.
Just thin. Okay. That gives it more of an interesting look. I'm going to reload because I don't want it to dry midway.
It really does.
So that's your focal point there, and you got a focal point there.
So Elaine, did you train as an artist?
I think I've always been fairly artistic, but not really.
Not really.
But I did do the August International Face Painting School.
So you went to Olga, and everybody needs a link to Olga. So here's a link to your face painting school if anybody needs that. But Olga's great. Yeah, Olga does a fantastic job. So how long did it take you to go through Olga's school?
I actually started, I can't even remember when, it was a while ago, but I think I was one of the first few people to sign up. So that was before she had a cutoff for the elite, like a 1-year mentor, personal feedback thing for the elite level.
So you got in early.
I got in early, so
sure.
She let me have a little bit longer, but I ended up finishing probably faster than I would have, because I was actually mentoring another student, Jian.
Mhm.
She's watching. Hello. Um, and she's really fast. And I thought, well, I'm still having to finish mine, but she's getting through so many of the designs that I'm like, well, I better get my ass in gear, because she'll end up finishing before me and I'm mentoring her.
Someone asked, Maria, I wanted to know what brush you're using right now.
I'm using Blazing Brush size 3 round. It's the LE one. There's one without the LE. I think it's like white, the, what do you call the tip? The brush bit.
Okay, yeah.
It's actually white, I think, but the LE ones have like a browny color. Okay, so I'm loading up with, this one is Paradise Beach Berry, I think it's called. Well, I call it Berry Red, but it's actually, I think, Beach Berry. And I use this red for my Spider-Mans as well. Now, I know you guys will probably think, like, why didn't you do the red first and then the black? But this is just the way I feel more comfortable with, because then I can kind of see where I wanted the head to go. I mean, I haven't really practiced the other way, so. And to be honest, I don't paint this.
White nylon and golden synthetic. Thanks, Gilbert.
You know, I have so many brushes that I bought when I first started. And, you know, sometimes when you're first starting and you're not used to your brushes, don't give up and, you know, like sell them or toss them away. You've paid a lot of money for it, because you'll find, like I did, you'll get to a point where your skills and techniques have improved, and then you go back to those brushes and you try them out again, and you'll find it quite surprising that, you know, now you know how to use those brushes.
Right.
So now you want to do like the dots.
Dorothy wanted to know, what was the container you used for your mini palette?
They're called, I just get them from eBay, but you can get them from Amazon or wherever has it. It's called a slimline fly fishing container. I think when I first got them, they used to be about $6 or $7 Australian. And I was speaking to someone not long ago, and she said, well, they're not selling it for that price anymore.
It's more expensive now.
Face painters have pushed the prices up.
Yep, it's a demanding market, I tell you. Thanks, Deneen. She loves these weekly tutorials. Well, sadly, it's not going to be next week. That brings up a good point about the schedule. So Zuri is doing this, who's watching right now, in a week from Monday, which is 2 weeks from today. And we're going to be doing flowers. And then after that, I think we have Pam Kinnenberg way in the future. And I've got to schedule a bunch between now and then, but that's what next week's for. And she's going to be doing that on December 10th, and she's going to be doing some winter designs.
So I'm going to do some leaves, because you find ladybugs on leaves usually.
You do?
Well, they eat the insects who are on the leaves, like aphids, or, you know, those little white dots.
Yeah, no tutorial next week. No, I'm going to be in St. Louis at the conference there, so that's why I can't do it next week. I will be watching the best and the brightest. Oh yeah, well thanks, Christy. I'm glad you like these. Watch them again. Absolutely, that's what it's for. And if you guys are interested in learning more about face painting or whatever, we put together a free group called Face Painting 411, and we post these videos there among other videos, stuff that we've done in the past and stuff that we're doing now. We have lots of units. So if you guys want to try that out, again for free, no obligation necessary. So feel free to join that group if you wish. And since we have some Anne's from Liverpool, UK. You are up late, Anne. That takes courage to watch this that late. Oh, the group's called Face Paint 411. It used to be called the Face Paint Learning Center, but we changed the name after we had a group poll and everybody said, 411. It sounds like a better name. And I posted the loop, just the link up in the chat window. So anybody going to St. Louis, by the way? You can see my smiling face there if it matters.
Okay, so that's the basic.
That's a great design. I mean, what I like about that design is it's original, simple, it's unique. I like ladybugs personally.
I'm not sure if it's original. I've seen certain versions of it. This is just my version of it.
Sure. Oh, good, Anita.
I don't want somebody to say, oh, somebody else did that before.
1:20 in the morning. Jeez, I'm in bed by 10, people. I'm too old for this. Yeah, 1:30 in the morning. I appreciate you staying up though. That's very sweet. Oh, Deneen, you're going to Capital Convention. I'm gonna be there as well. So I'll be at the Kraze FX booth. And anyway, we're gonna be giving out some free face paint. So if you want to come by, you'll get some free face paint. Get some samples.
So you don't have to do this white outline. It's only if you have the time to do it.
Right. So how long would that design take you?
On the job.
The link's not working? What did I do wrong?
Maybe 5 minutes or less.
Okay. Groups, more, share group. No, no. Kathy. The link's not working. I don't know. Anybody else having that problem? Okay. Maybe search in Facebook for this. This is the title of the group. There it is, Renew. Yeah, the link didn't work. Okay. I swear I copied it straight from there. Yeah, works for some people. I can't tell you. Maybe it's because you have to be logged into Facebook for that to work.
There we go.
That's very pretty design. That's a great design.
All right.
And you and I are the same age, and you still stay up to 1:30 in the morning to learn about face painting. I admire the dedication. We did some Christmas Maria. We did some Christmas tutorials a week ago with Gilbert says that's beautiful. We did some Christmas tutorials with Pam. She was showing off stencils, but she was doing some Christmas designs last week.
How much more time do we have? Shall I do
We've
another
got
design?
8 minutes.
Want me to do another one?
If you could do whatever you could do in 8 minutes, I'm all for. But you're between me and dinner. And Kathy says she really loves how delicate your highlights are.
Thanks. Okay, I don't have a tinier board, so I'm going to use this big one. Okay, so.
And Gilbert likes your
this
that liner.
You saw my Superman. I have a Batman one. I was just about to say Spider-Man. Okay.
Yeah, Anita, everybody wants you to do one more.
Okay. So I don't have to do that line in the middle because I can see where it goes now. About there. So this one and the Superman one, those are pop stencils.
Mm-hmm.
Get them straight from Pop Stencils. I'm not sure which other vendors have them.
There are so many stencils out there. I mean, we sell a lot of them, but man, are there a ton. There's always new stencils, really interesting stuff that people come up with all the time. Batman. Yep.
Okay. So then I use, I'm going to load up with something like this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, Deneen, that's exactly right. It is the practice board over Sally Ann over a real photo. That's right.
In A4.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to canvas.
Anita, that's a picture of her daughter. Gilbert's on it.
Ta-da! How fast was that? No,
that was fast.
I was doing it much faster than that, but even on a board, that was pretty fast. It's one of those things like, you still got like 5 boys in the line. You're like, okay, you all line up. I'm going to stencil the Batman on your face first, so it's got time to dry.
Right.
And then most of the time, if I'm going to end the line, and I don't like to say no to people, so I'm a bit of a softie. So, but I will say, okay, I get to choose a design. So girls often get like the rainbow and double dip flowers. And
right.
what I do is I will do all the rainbows together. And that gives it time to dry. Then I will do, they all pretty much line up in line. I'm basically going from one to the next to the next. They don't even have to sit down. And then I'll do the double dips on them, all down the line, and then puff of glitter. And like, okay, bye, bye, bye.
And that's this is the Kraze palette, split cake palette, Gilbert. So I think that's what you used for that, right?
This one isn't.
Oh, that one isn't? Oh, so what is that? Is that a custom one-stroke palette or?
This one's a custom one, yeah. This one would be yours.
Okay. So you use black, blue, and light. What are the colors? Because I'm always looking to create new split cakes.
I'll put them all back into the palette.
No, the one you just used. What's that one?
Oh, hang on.
She looks like Moana. Yeah, that's true. So it's is that black or light blue or dark blue?
It's black, dark blue.
Light blue.
And it's petrol blue, and I can't remember what that color is. And then it might be white.
It might have been white once. Got it. Okay.
But you know, it fits a 1-inch brush, and this is a 3/4 inch brush. So most of the time, depending on what you want to use it for, like in this case, I want the black. So I'm going to use the top half of it.
Okay, great. Gilbert says it's a beautiful custom run stroke. So we have reached the end of our time. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And like I said, I'm going to post this on Facebook in a few minutes, so you guys can rewatch it if you missed any part of it. And I want to thank you, Elaine, for coming in all the way from Australia. I know this was, I hope this wasn't as nerve-wracking as you thought this was going to be. I hope.
I actually wasn't as nervous. I was probably more stressed about it.
You didn't need to be. You didn't need to be. You were great. And so I wanted to thank you for all this.
Well, thank you everyone for watching as well. And thanks, Blake, for giving me the opportunity to do this.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to do it again. Okay, well, fantastic. And thank you all for joining us. And we're going to be skipping next week, so I'm going to be in St. Louis. But the following week, we will be back with Zuri. So before Thanksgiving, so maybe we'll see some turkeys. Who knows? Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.